Lone Star State. This is your two dads.
Your two dads.
Two real dads giving you the real news.
Like, the Biden administration is now politicizing natural gas energy exports. Man, we got a lot to talk about this morning. You wouldn't think we would because it's a weekend and the weekends are always dead. And so we don't have a lot of news stories. But I found a bunch of stories that are just, I'm sure, engrossing, enthralling. And Deke is going to be just on the edge of his seat for this entire show. Good morning, everybody. This is youtube.com/@your2dads with little underbars in there, and rumble.com/JJW. We meet Monday through Friday at 8:00 in the morning on the dot, exactly, to drink coffee.
If your clock, wherever you're looking at, says something different than 8:00 when we start, you might want to kind of update your clock. The batteries might be getting low. You know how they make them run slow sometimes. So, because ours are always right.
It's probably Verizon trying to make you pay your bill late. So.
What does Gandalf say? Gandalf said, "A wizard arrives precisely when he means to." He's never late.
We drink coffee and we talk news, politics, culture, and other bullshit that really, really matters. And we save the world every single day. But before we do that, Deacon does a little cultural curation, and he's got a theme of musics.
This week we're doing another theme. I think you might, you'll have to hit, there it is right there. You'll have to, this week, I wanted to send you a message earlier this morning and be like, okay, look, take 4 minutes and listen to this song. And then I was like, no, I need to wait. JJ needs to listen to this song. He doesn't need to listen. He needs to listen to this song by himself. Okay. You don't need to be around anyone or have anyone, like, you need a couple of minutes probably after, maybe, because you're a dad of daughters. And our theme this week is daughters. Now, this is just really weird that it came up because Friday's song is going to be the song that y'all gave me that we talked about on the show.
Yeah.
So we'll do that one on Friday. And we were like, I was just like, we'll just make a theme of this. And I thought Wednesday is my youngest daughter's birthday, my baby, the youngest. She's my youngest. She's a daughter, and it's her birthday. And so I thought, this fits in very perfectly this week. So today's song is a country song. I don't think you've ever heard it, but JJ is the dad of two daughters. And I've played this on my radio station. And every time I play it, I have to do something else to where I don't listen to the song at all. Because if I listen to this song, I will start tearing up. Okay. The song is called Just Fishin' by Trace Adkins. Okay. And it's a great song. I'm not going to tell you anything that the chorus, the first sentence of the chorus is, she thinks we're just fishing. She thinks we're just fishing.
My gosh.
She thinks we're just fishing. And that's a whole song about what's going on. And his little girl thinks that they're just fishing.
That tells a whole story just in like 5 words. She thinks we're just fishing. Yeah, 5 words. That tells a whole story.
Mm-hmm.
You don't even need more than that, really. If you know it's about a dad and a daughter.
Yeah, it's good. It's a great song. And like I said, it makes me tear up. When I play this on the radio station, I can't listen to it because I'll start friggin' tearing up. I cried everything.
Kids.
Yes, yeah. I do. So I'll go and do something else. So this is a great one today. Just Fishing by Trace Atkins. If you've never heard this, listen to this one. It is good.
Finish this. Do-Good says that his clock says it's 3 p.m. He's pretty sure that he's correct. How can Germany and U.S. say two different things and both be correct? That doesn't make sense.
Y'all are wrong.
Good morning, Do-Good. All right.
It's afternoon, and it's Guten Tag.
Look how generous. Look how generous Do-Good is to us. He thinks it's in the afternoon, but he says good morning to us. That's pretty kind.
Do-Good's good people. He's an official Kentuckian. Do-Good
he's setting aside his own reality.
Is one of the few natural-born Germans that is also an official Kentucky statesman, according to some people. According to me. According to me, he's a bluegrass brother.
Well, you guys get very international stuff. For instance, your Senator Mitch McConnell, he's pretty much totally Chinese.
You're not wrong.
I know.
It's pretty funny.
All right. All right. Good morning. Hey, Ricochet's here. All right, man. We're loaded up this morning. All right, Deke. Let's dive into this super fun topic. Okay, we got 2 or 3 kind of big issues here. Let's go with where is
my smoker?
Yeah.
You make my blood pressure go up.
I know.
We start talking about Texas and look how many times I take a puff off this freaking thing.
Right.
Like, oh.
So, okay. So a couple of things happened recently, as we have been talking about, and we'll talk about shortly. Texas versus the federal government standoff over who is allowed access through a city park to the border to cut wire, razor wire, or whatever.
Yeah.
Texas says no, and the Supreme Court says they can cut razor wire. And they didn't say anything else. So Texas is like, yeah, you guys can cut razor wire and we can string a bunch more and you're still not allowed through the park. So there's all of this stuff. So it came to me as an utter and complete shock, a total shock that the very next day, the Biden administration announced vis-a-vis Energy Secretary Jennifer Granholm that energy exports of LNG, which is liquid natural gas, energy exports will be put on pause while they evaluate the conditions of the market. I didn't know that the United States could just pause business for probably until like November 4th.
So for those of you that are not taking notes and are playing with your pen and have taken it apart and playing with the spring in your pen this morning and not paying attention to the classroom discussion, I'm going to give you a little quick what's going on.
Yeah.
When Biden took over, he opened up the door and people started pouring in, and Texas eventually said, "Yo, we need to close this," and he didn't. And Texas is like, yo, we need to close this. And he didn't. So Texas was like, hey, we're closing this. And so Biden was like, don't you fucking close that. And they're like, we're closing it. It's like, don't you close it. If you close that, you were in for it. And so Texas is like the little kids, like, I'm going to close it. And Biden's like, if you close this, I'm taking away your Nintendo. And so this is where we're at right now.
Right. Yeah.
Biden is threatening to take away the telephone and ground us.
Yeah.
But is Biden one of those parents that is Biden you or is Biden your wife? Because all the kids know, every kid knows that me, Dad, Andy, Dad, when I threaten, I'm not going to take away anything.
Oh, you don't? Yeah, you're that kind of parent. So first of all, in your analogy, there's sort of the underlying premise that the parent is the responsible one that wants to teach the child to be responsible. In this case, we have a dementia-ridden, addled. In
this case, the child has become more. There's a point when your children become more responsible than you, and this is where we're at. And the child is like, Dad, we don't need to do this anymore. You don't need to drive. Okay.
Probably a more apt kind of analogy would be more like this. A grown-up Texas is saying, hey, stop that. And the parent of the grown-up, it was just Joe Biden administration, has dementia and Alzheimer's and poops himself. And he's just pooping himself in public. And Texas is like, stop doing that. And he's like, no, I'm going to do it.
I've seen 2 or 3 different I'm going to say out there conspiracy theories about this that are not so far out there. You know, like 10 years ago they'd have been out there. But now they're like, okay, and I've seen some that are like, this is completely orchestrated. you know, this is completely orchestrated because of this and because of this, and it's in order for this to stay in power and for this to happen. And you know, I'm not going to get into the crazy. If I come across them, I usually post my stuff in the Discord server above JJ's head. Like and subscribe.
He does. He tags me, JJ, just watch this video. We never went to the moon, and I'm like, we'll talk about it.
Let's watch it. And JJ never watches it.
Okay. So I
don't make up excuses. I know you.
I follow your rabbit trail a little bit, and then I'm like, hold on. Okay, but let's get off.
Okay,
let's get back on topic here. Yeah. I got a clip here from Secretary Granholm. I don't want to misrepresent her. So here's Granholm. Now this is a long interview, but we only need about a minute of this.
What we need,
but that can't be done without stopping, without pausing. I mean, I think that's the other question, because some people look at LNG specifically and they say, look, this is a cleaner form of energy.
Cleaner.
In fact, when it's exported, oftentimes it is replacing energy that might be produced by coal, which is a lot dirtier.
Yeah, it's a good question, and that's one of the things we have to evaluate. This is a temporary pause for the purpose of doing an assessment, which will be done in leadership by our national labs. This is not an indefinite pause. It will last some months. There will be a comment period.
How many months?
Madam Secretary, will it last till November 5th? That's what people are saying, Madam.
Hold on. This is CNBC. This is as like center left or left as you can get, CNBC. But even this guy's like, really? You sure this isn't going to go just through election season?
You know that the young voters are the climate is front and center, and the cynics of this on the other side would say this is pure politicking, that President Biden needs young voters.
I'm the cynic.
And you can see the comments from the climate lobby. This is like, you know, they're celebrating and you know, toasting the Biden administration for this pause. And it looks you don't need, really, if you're cynical, you don't need to look beyond that. It's just politicking.
I understand the cynics are going to say what the cynics are going to say, but we are following the law. And under the Natural Gas Act, the Department of Energy is required to assess what is in the public interest.
Right.
Yeah, but you're not required to stop exports to do that. So you're taking a little bit of liberty in your interpretation of the law and what is in the public interest.
This is exactly stuff that has happened in history that has led up to certain conflicts and stuff within our country as well as other countries. These are the little baby steps that lead up to this stuff. If people will just, I know I sound like a broken freaking record. If people will just read their history, they will see that, oh my God, this is why this crap is so scary. This is the scariest story to me that we have done and that I have seen in 10 years.
The fact that the federal government is just like willy-nilly, like, oh, we're just gonna
this conflict and everything that's going on with the border is the scariest thing that I have seen in a long, long time. And I have worked in media for 30 years, almost 30 years. Read the news. I've been on mornings for like 26 years, and I have read the news every single morning for 26 years at least. And this is the scariest story I've seen in a long time.
So here's a little bit more of it from Breitbart News. Border showdown. Biden stops approval of LNG exports in retaliation of Texas defiance, says the Texas Land Commissioner. So
did you see what Trump said? Trump, I don't know where he said it on. I don't know if I've still got it. It'd probably be on my phone. He said that his first day in some speech or somewhere, some interview somewhere, he was first day, I will open up the natural gas.
Yeah. Yeah. And he's been at Trump rallies. He's been like, look, day one, drill, baby, drill. We're going to stop all of this other nonsense. We're going to turn on the American economy because, you know, like prices are up, wages are not. Your real income is maybe your income went up, but your prices of goods, of milk, of eggs, of bread, of gas, all of that went up like way more. So your purchasing power parity, your dollar, the power of your dollar bill has gone down for years.
That's what we were Ashley and I were just talking about that last night because we were talking about bread or something. I said, I remember stocking the bread when I was 16 and it had the little red 89 cents for the That was for the bunny bread, the expensive, the good bread, not the cheap
Yeah.
bread. 89 cents. And that's what
Yeah.
she's like, everybody's wanting higher wages, but it's like it's not taught on purpose that if you get $15 an hour, don't expect bread to be $1. Expect it to be at $2.50 or $3.
Right. Yeah.
So are you really? And it seems like, it's a natural evolution and a natural incline with everything that's going on. But it seems like in the past 3 years, you have not gotten any more money, but everything else has kind of gone up, and it is
that's
completely
exactly what's
by
happening.
design. I think it's by design, but I'm a tinfoil hat wearing crazy man. So what do
I don't know if it's by design as much as incompetence, and then also ideological, like there's some amount of ideological pressure, but you have people like Secretary Helen or whatever, they're like, oh, there's not going to be inflation. And then like, oh, there's going to be inflation, but it's like, it's okay because it's a casual part of the cycle or whatever. And they're just gaslighting you when in reality, they want to make America weaker and they want to make you poorer so that you need the government more so that the government gets more power. That's the cycle. Get people, put people in dire situations and create a problem that only the government can solve. And then continue that.
It's all the giant squid monsters. It's all the giant squid monsters' overall plan. They plan to take down America. They've already made most of the world sterile. So
oh, yeah.
I'm not going to elaborate how they've done that, but they've done that in the last 4 years. This is their plan. They plan to take over the big countries and cripple the big countries, and then they can eventually take over.
I just don't believe that they are that smart that they have a plan. It's more like they're doing
giant
dumb
squid
shit.
monster has been alive since before the Roman times.
Yeah.
The giant squid monster changes its name over time so that you never know that it's still the same giant squid monster.
So here is Texas Land Commissioner Dawn Buckingham, and she says Texas has never backed down from a fight, and we're not looking to start now. And that's true.
Yeah.
Want our razor wire? Yeah. Come and take it. So Texas is the country's largest natural gas exporter and the third in the world. This reckless move banning natural gas is nothing more than retaliation against Texas for standing up to this administration over the border crisis. And you know what? That's a totally fair interpretation. The Biden administration will
don't close that. Oh shit.
Oh, yeah.
Open that back up.
Yeah.
I want to show you something. I didn't want to interrupt you. I was listening to you.
Yeah.
Go up.
Oh, okay.
Just scroll up and keep talking. Yeah, right there. Stop.
Right here?
Yeah. And then keep talking.
Okay. So the Biden administration will never admit that they're directly retaliating. This is their sideways, cowardly shit that they do. But that's exactly what this is. When Texas is a major natural gas producer, and then you're like, oh, well, you guys can't do business. Well, that's only to economically harm the state of Texas, the people of the state of Texas, and then to politically weaken the resolve and the will of the politicians in the state of Texas so that the Biden administration can dominate.
That right there is the new Gadsden flag.
Yeah.
You know what the Gadsden flag is?
Yeah. That's the little yellow one with the snake and don't tread on me.
The people that don't know, the Gadsden flag is the don't tread on me flag that was adopted in the American Revolution, before the American Revolution. And that is the modern day Gadsden flag. Come and take it with the razor wire and the one star. I saw something the other day that said that Captain America is not Captain America, because he only has one star on his chest. So he's Captain Texas.
I don't know. I don't want Chris Evans to be Captain Texas. You can have him back. That's okay.
You don't want Texas's ass?
I don't want Chris Evans. You can keep him. Let's see. Staying on this topic of Texas though for a moment, we have Greg Abbott says that 10 other states. So we had the map up last week, right? 25 states have expressed solidarity for Texas in this conflict with the federal government over rights and power and so forth. Greg Abbott says 10 other states have actually deployed a National Guard to Texas. So
Good.
20% of the United States let's find out. So in a Friday interview with Greg Abbott, Tucker Carlson asked the Texas governor to speculate how many Republican governors would send National Guard to the Lone Star State. He said, there have been about 10 so far that have sent National Guard or other law enforcement. This is a fight for the future of America, and they all know it.
This is by design because they're all Republican states. That's the reason why Kentucky has not sent, because we have a Democratic governor. The Attorney General of Kentucky has been on the governor's butt the past 2 or 3 days, talking about it and saying that we as Kentuckians support Texas, even though our governor does not and whatnot. So do you see how this is creating strife everywhere else as well?
Yeah, right.
You know, this is history being made, people.
I mean, like this isn't a shock. And Kentucky in particular, you guys re-elected this guy. Like it wasn't even a year ago. It was like 6 months ago.
There's some tinfoil hat stuff on that as well. I mean, I kind of got into it a little bit when that was happening. The guy that was running up against Bashir, Daniel Cameron. Yeah. Bashir is the Bashir family is a very powerful Kentucky family, very powerful, and got a lot of connections, rich connections. And they had been trying to push gambling since his father was governor, and they couldn't get gambling in. Andy, his son, got gambling passed, him and his buddies. And that's why they stayed in power. Kentucky's got 120 counties, and like 117 of them were red. There was only 3 counties that were blue, and those 3 counties got him elected, in which we thought was bullshit. A lot of people in Kentucky were crying foul for that, to the wall, to no one listening, you know. And a theory that I heard, and it's the best one, I don't completely buy it, but it's the most feasible one that I'm like, okay, is that Daniel Cameron is a strong Republican candidate, but I think they thought that they wanted to keep him out because if he were governor and something were to happen to Mitch McConnell, they couldn't get him to Mitch McConnell's seat. They would like to have a strong Republican to try, that's not going to completely take Mitch McConnell's power, but a strong Republican in his seat. And if he were governor, and I was like, I don't know if I buy that, but it's feasible. I mean, that's like a C line story. That's not my A storyline. That's like a contingency story.
I mean, maybe that's some rationalization for what happened, but the reality is, you know, like he was running for governor, didn't get it. The people, whoever the people are and however they're influenced, re-elected
the Democrat. Gambling.
Sure,
gambling.
Probably a lot of it.
No, I'm serious. As soon as gambling passed in this state, I started seeing all kinds of ads come up for online gambling. Kevin, what's the little comedian? Kevin Hart has these online gambling commercials. And then he goes, and he does this commercial for this online gambling thing. And he goes, and now you're in it, Kentucky, blah, blah, blah. And because I've edited audio for 30 plus years, I'm like, oh, that was an add-on to this. We call them donuts. We'll make a spot to where it's got a blank spot in the middle so that we can change it and make it sound fresh without cutting the whole spot. We call them a donut. And so it was a donut spot. And I was like, oh, well, they just sold that because, hey, Kentucky, you're finally in it. The gambling kept they wanted to pass gambling in Kentucky. Yeah. So that's why he stayed in power. And some people might disagree with me on that, but I don't care that is what I believe.
Next time, I don't know what is the governor? Do you have any idea? Is it 2 years in Kentucky, or how long is it? What's the cycle there?
4.
2, 4. Yeah, you guys are gonna have to remember this shit next time around. So you know what I mean? Yeah. Anyway.
99% of Kentucky voted for Daniel Cameron, and Steve Bashir won. Landmass, 98% of the landmass of Kentucky. Let me say that.
Maybe Texas needs to start sending some buses to Louisville or Lexington.
No.
I don't know.
All right.
All right.
Are you
Yeah. We're
done
gonna almost.
Okay.
So the House GOP is now introducing House GOP is introducing impeachment articles against Secretary Mayorkas as they zero in on his parole programs that he created. Mayorkas. So part of the case of the GOP against Secretary Mayorkas is that they argue unconstitutionally just invented parole programs and now is releasing migrants from around the world into the U.S. based on these parole programs. Something like 735,000 people were released into the U.S. in fiscal year 2023 into these parole programs. And let's see. The House Homeland Security Committee is scheduled to mark up articles of impeachment against Mayorkas Tuesday morning at 10 a.m. The impeachment resolution includes 2 articles and accuses Mayorkas of willful and systematic refusal to comply with the law based on allegations that the secretary violated immigration law through Biden immigration policies. And it also charges Mayorkas with breach of trust, which accuses he didn't carry out his responsibilities. So,
I've been corrected.
We'll see if it happens.
Bashir won 28 counties. So, yeah, that was 102 counties that Daniel Cameron won, and 28 counties that Steve Bashir won. Andy Bashir.
Yeah.
Oh, my bad.
You guys are going to have to put some fences up around those blue cities. Hey, David. Good morning. All right. Just pulled up to work. Thanks for keeping the good fight. Hey, thank you, Ricochet. Thanks for hanging out with us. All right, man. Let's see. What do we want to talk about now? Do we want to? Yeah. Oh, let me just here's a couple other numbers real quick. Just real quick. Lost the daggum page. This button and then this button says Joe Biden's parole pipeline freed 745,000 foreign nationals into the U.S. in 2023, exceeding 2 months of American births. So for 2 months last year, more people were.
We get this man out. Why can't they get him out of office? Why doesn't any of those people have the balls to do something about this? Is an attack on this is bullshit. I'm not smart enough to come up with all this crap.
Right.
Figure out the laws and do something about it.
Yeah.
Because you're pushing it to where the pitchforks and the torches are fixing to come out. We're relying on you to do something about it before the people that can't control their emotions get out of hand. And you know there are people in America that can't control their emotions.
That's true. That's true. But I mean, there's only 2 paths. There's only 2 paths for getting us out of this problem. The first path is that Americans don't vote for Biden, aka Democrats, in November. I mean, this is what you guys bought. You got so wound up with Orange Man Bad and we hate Trump. You got so wound up. You literally hired a demented, perverted,
it's really amazing how easy it is to brainwash the public, isn't it? I mean, it's very simple. And brainwash is like you're thinking that you've got a zombie under your control. That's not what I mean when I say that. I can direct your thoughts and I can direct you to think a certain way by what I say, what I do, how I put inflection on words. I can direct you to think a certain way. We used to do that for fun on my radio station on the mornings on the Hot AC station just to see if we could do it. And it worked.
Yeah. For instance, right now, Deke, if you were like, hey, viewer, isn't this important to you? Well, if it is, then hit the like button right down there.
It's a perfect example.
All right. I'm done talking about all of this shit. I guess I only had one other thing. It was hard.
I got to like and subscribe for some reason. I have an overwhelming urge. I don't know why this just came over me.
All right. We're gonna pivot a little bit, and then I'm gonna hand it over, and you can talk about whatever you want. Check this out: a Harvard study. Harvard. This is no gay jokes here. Harvard study claims climate change has negative effect on mental health. Would you believe that? A new study published in Nature magazine by Harvard researchers and scientists from the University of Chicago and some other bullshit places said that it took the first comprehensive look at mental health and the slower moving climate change factors. Mm-hmm.
So what you're telling me, what I'm getting out of that is that all of the micro metals that we've been spraying into our atmosphere for the past 20, 30 years, 40, 50 years and we've been breathing in is affecting our mental health. Oh, okay. Yeah. Already knew that.
I found this quote to be the most interesting. Harvard professor Kirsten Conan told the outlet that there's a lack of research in areas most affected by climate change. Lack of research in the places most affected by climate change. Hold that thought in your head. The countries that are most affected by climate change are the least studied. Well, how do you know they are the most affected by climate change? How do you know that there are not other factors involved in
you see?
If they're the least studied places? Bullshit. It's bullshit.
But we're supposed to believe that person because they went to school longer than you did.
Harvard.
Yeah, they went to Harvard.
Didn't plagiarize anything.
Nope.
Gay. All right. That's all the stuff I have, Deke. That's everything.
I don't know what I have. Do I have anything?
Mm-hmm. Maybe we could just complain about migrants a lot more.
Oh, I had another Biden.
I don't really want to complain about migrants. You know what? I was thinking about that, just this kind of like issue, because, whatever, I'm a person. I actually know and love individual people that maybe shouldn't have crossed the lines and came into the country. That doesn't change the fact that individually, I know them, like them, or love them. But en masse, when you have 10 million people flooding into the system, we can't support that. So while on an individual case-by-case basis, I might be like, no, that's fine. Come on. But like in mass as policy, it's like, that's not good. That's bad. So, nuance, I guess. All right.
I was listening to, I think it was Sean Hannity, and I don't like listening to those talking heads as much as those guys anymore, as much as I used to. But he was, he made a good point. He was like, I refuse to believe that federal agents are going to engage with Texas officials. He was like, I refuse to believe that our people will do that to our people. And he was talking about how, he was bragging on the law enforcement people and whatnot. And he was like, I refuse to believe that these brothers will fire on these other brothers. I honestly refuse to believe that. And I was like, okay, I hope, because I'm the doomsday story creator in my head and the history buff story creator, and in my head, I've got a crazy story, that's evolving because of what I know in history. So this is why this
how crazy is it
so much.
So we don't believe that we'll fire that Texas will fire on our neighbors. Do we believe that the federal government won't arrest and jail patriots for no reason for years?
But that's just what he said. So I was trying to talk to my son about it over the weekend, and he was like, "I'm just not that interested in politics." And I was like, I know, son, and it's probably because of your age, because I wasn't as interested in politics at 16 years old either and whatnot. But, I said, it's happening, and you need to be aware that it's happening and not be blind to it. And he said, yeah, I know. He said, I'm just not interested in that. And I was like, that's exactly what they're depending on, is that most Americans will say, I hope it gets resolved. I just want to go about my day. I don't pay attention to politics. I've got a hard enough day trying to make it through my day, working 2 jobs, trying to pay all these bills and dealing with the shit going on at home, because not having a lot of money puts stress on your marriage and it starts fights and the kids. And, I'm just trying to deal with all that. I don't have time to pay attention to politics and stuff. And that's what they are depending and relying on, is that you have your blinders on and you're not paying attention because you're not interested in politics or you've got too much going on.
Right. Yeah.
Well,
I mean, I made these kind of arguments way back in grad school and in politics, because, you know, like in grad school, especially in political science, it's like, oh, well, we have to get people more engaged in civics, and we have to get people. And I was in this room with these we'd have these conversations about what's the public good, and we'd have these conversations, and I was like, very often the only one at the table. I was like, you know, regular people just don't care. They're worried about, like, I got to make rent. I got to feed my kids. I got to make sure that I can get to the 9 different places I have to be. And like the last thing I want to worry about is what some uppity politician in some other state has doing, you know, like
they don't
regular
care.
people, they don't, and like,
But
oh,
if you set 30
thing,
people down that care, us and our viewers care. You know, if we had an hour-long podcast about Dungeons and Dragons, we wouldn't have the same people, but we would have a different audience. You know,
right? Yeah.
So,
yeah, regular people, man. They just want to get on with their
care.
lives. Well, it's not that they have a higher, their personal priorities are more important to them. And that's rational.
That's fine.
Rational.
Completely understand. I've got a lot of responsibility too. My bathroom door is freaking broken, and I got to get some freaking dowel rods to fix the damn thing. And I've been putting it off all weekend long. So the screws are, it's an old door. It's an old house. It's a little door, and the screws. And so I've got to bore it out and glue dowel rods in and freaking give the screws. And I've just been putting it off.
Yeah.
Ugh, I'm gonna hire Sinister Minister Dave to come over.
Yeah, Dave, come over and do it. The thing is, I would do it, and I would do everything as right as I could, and then the door would be like 1/2 degree tilted or whatever, and it'd bang into the. It just wouldn't hang right or whatever.
There is an episode of Malcolm in the Middle where the dad. I used to watch Malcolm in the Middle a long time ago, and I watched it from the kids' point of view, and now I'm watching it from the parents' point of view over again because my kids watch it. And there's an intro part where Hal, the dad, Lois asks him, his wife asks him to fix the light bulb. So he goes to the closet, and this is me. I laugh so hard at this part. So he goes to fix the light bulb, and he goes in the closet and he looks, and he puts his hand on the shelf, and the shelf's loose. So he starts looking, and the screw's loose or something. So he goes to get a screwdriver, and when he opens up the drawer's loose. So he starts looking on that, and he needs some. So he's like fixing the freaking, when she comes home, he's fixing the car. And she's like, I thought I told you to change the light bulb. And he goes, that's what I'm doing.
Yeah.
That's me. I go to fix one thing, and
it's all connected.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've done exactly that.
That's me.
Yeah.
All right. So I got a story for you. Hang on.
Yeah.
I had a 23 minutes ago. Oh, I'll have to answer that later. I had a story last week. I had a buddy asking me what song was playing on the air 23 minutes ago. So I had a story last week. It was a copyright story that we talked about. Tattoo artist Kat Von D that had tattooed this picture of Miles Davis.
Yeah.
And she had tattooed it for free on a friend of hers, and then the photographer sued her. Well, a jury has found that she did not violate the photographer's copyright when she gave a friend a tattoo based on the portrait. So the jury deliberated for just over 2 hours before deciding that the tattoo by Kat Von D was not similar enough to photographer Jeffrey Sedlick's 89 photo portrait of the jazz legend. So they were very happy for it to be over. I couldn't find the picture of the tattoo.
Let me see if I can release it, because people, privacy and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Actually, the newspaper may have had to pay Kat Von D for permission to use a tattoo based on Miles Davis photograph.
This might be it. Hang on, let me see if this is it right here. Replace screen sharing with this one.
Oh, hey, that's pretty damn good.
She's amazing. She's amazing.
Yeah. You can see how in the photo of Miles Davis, it's completely black background. But on her tattoo, she did not completely black out his arm. So that's different.
It's different. Do you remember the classic? I was playing this for my son the other day, for Alex the other day. Do you remember? And Ashley knew exactly what I was talking about. You probably will as well. And you older viewers, do you remember when Vanilla Ice was interviewed by like MTV News? Ice Baby is ding 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 ding. Well, Queen and David Bowie put out a song called Under Pressure that was ding 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 ding.
Under Pressure. Yeah.
Well, they asked him about that when this was going on in the classic Vanilla Ice interview, and he's like, "Oh no, ours is different. Theirs goes ding 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 ding, and ours goes ding 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 ding." Ding 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 ding. If you've never seen that, just Google it. It's there. It's beautiful.
Yeah,
and so it's hilarious with these copyright things. The Ed Sheeran Marvin Gaye one was a big one, and but there's only a certain number of notes, and there's only a certain number of patterns. So eventually, you're going to
not only that.
Stuff that does sound similar, but there are people that steal stuff.
Sure, absolutely. There's people that steal stuff, and there's also the fact that you go through your life and you don't write down everything you ever hear, and so you can cite it. You just like absorb stuff, and your brain like writes this melody, writes this beat or whatever, and it mixes it all together, and you can't tell the difference between what you remember and what you imagined. It's
I tell
possible.
Alex all the time. He'll be playing something on the guitar, and it's just not too long ago. He was like, "Listen to this lick," and he was playing it, and I was like, "You need to get your phone out and record that." And he's like, "I'll remember it," and I was like, "Get your phone out and record that. Don't. I'll remember that crap. No, you won't.
Write it down.
You will not remember it." So yeah, I don't. There was something else I was going to say about him.
What'd you have for lunch yesterday?
Pizza.
Do you have any idea? Are you sure you had pizza?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right.
Bacon pizza.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I don't know what I had. I have no idea. I don't remember everything.
I got one more story here for you, Gigi. It's a Tesla Cybertruck owner that bought the Cybertruck and put over 10,000 miles on it.
Ooh,
and he done some studies. Yeah, 10,000 miles.
Okay.
And he says he gets about 206 miles before he has to charge up.
That's not very far.
That's not very good. And I say that as person that lives in the country. You know, I'm these electric vehicles would be fine in the city for urban people that don't have a long way to go.
Right.
They've got 16 blocks or 4 miles or 6 miles or 10 miles, but that's not for normal people that live in the country. These will never, 206 miles. No way.
So I read, I drove past a headline about EV stuff this weekend, and in particular, it was it was related to Granholm, who's the energy secretary, says that slumping EV sales are partially due to higher prices and confusing tax incentives. But the reality is that people don't really want electric vehicles. Now, I'm not saying nobody wants electric vehicles. Some people want electric vehicles, but not the overwhelming market drive. One, they're expensive. Two, you have to put in these expensive power ports in your house to charge them up. And then once you take out the tax deductions or whatever, they're either not less expensive or they are considerably more expensive per mile than regular vehicles. So the government has been pushing dealerships and stuff you have to have so many percent of your vehicles have to be electric vehicles, and a bunch of manufacturers are like, no, they're just stacking up on the lot. We're not selling them. Tesla sells, but Chevrolet, whatever garbage electric vehicle, people are not interested in necessarily all of these electric vehicles. So Cybertruck. Do you think the Cybertruck looks cool?
No.
It looks like a low resolution model on a game. Like they couldn't
Yeah,
afford
it
enough
looks like the truck
polygons.
you would get into in like GoldenEye.
Oh wow, Nintendo 64.
Yeah, it's like you're running along the snow in GoldenEye, sniping people, and you see a truck and you run and get in. That's the truck from
Right.
GoldenEye. And for people that don't know, I think that was on what, Super Nintendo?
No, that was on Nintendo 64 for sure. I played that a
Nintendo
lot.
64.
Yeah, I played that a lot.
I think so.
That would be
we did too.
that would be the kind of vehicle you run up in the video game and you can't get in it. It doesn't open. It does. There's
you
it's,
don't
it's
open. You
just
don't drive it.
It's just a
It just sits
background
there.
model.
It's just a background model. And honestly, if we live in the Matrix, that may be what this is. Maybe this is just a low res. They're like, we really need to get this out here, but we haven't got the design ready for it. So let's just put out this low res model, and the humans will think that it's real.
And then, like, he's been teasing the what is it, Cybertruck, for like years. Like, so I'm surprised that anyone even has the damn thing.
Yeah, it's only been a couple of years. But there's people out there that will sit in line for an iPhone.
Yeah.
They got the latest iPhone, but they'll definitely sit in line for a day and a half for the latest iPhone so that they can be the first one. So whatever.
Hey, did you hear?
Old granddad used to say different strokes for different folks, bub. Different strokes for different folks.
Let's talk about entertainment for a second. Did you know that Daredevil is coming back? Netflix Daredevil is coming back.
They would since they made it a part of the universe or whatnot.
Right. So
I figured that they would probably rehash it.
It's now canon that all the Netflix stuff, even the wacky stuff, is like MCU canon. And by wacky stuff, I mean the Defenders and like, it was a little silly.
That was all right. It wasn't terrible.
Okay. All right. It's been years since I watched it. I'll go with it. Underground, whatever they were doing, underground hole ninjas, digging holes in New York City.
Have you read ever read a comic book?
Of course I have. I've got comics right here. Hey, you know what, dude? Let me just say, I went and picked this up randomly. The Colonized. It's about
I saw that weird thing back there.
It's literally zombies versus aliens. It's pretty fun. The aliens are cruising by Earth and they try to use a tractor beam to pull up a human, but something's wrong with their tractor beam and it actually turns a dead human into a zombie and they start a zombie apocalypse. It's pretty great. Anyway, okay. So I guess I was just wondering if you were into Netflix. Are you gonna watch Daredevil? Are you excited about it? Are you excited about really anything like media wise anymore?
Not really.
Avatar? You watched Avatar?
Yeah, that
looked pretty good.
Avatar, February 22nd. Yeah, I can't wait for that. I'm excited about the Netflix stuff. I mean, the Kingpin was awesome. Punisher was awesome. Daredevil was not bad. Iron Fist, Jessica Jones. I wish they would have Luke Cage. With what's his name?
Mike Coulter. He's just not available. You know what? If they bring back Jessica Jones,
perfect.
I loved the first season of Jessica Jones. I thought that show was great.
Yeah, but you didn't like Jessica Jones. You just liked the Purple Man. What's his name?
She was good. No, she was okay. Purple Man was great, though. That's true.
What's his damn name? I can't think of his name here.
David Tennant.
Dave Tennant. I started to say anything that he's in, you just love. Yeah, you got the freaking Doctor Who mug today. That's so funny.
Hey, let me tell you this little story. My wife went out to dinner with her friends like Saturday night. I don't know, girls, friends, whatever, dinner. I was like, whatever, bye. And then the kids were like, Dad, can we watch TV? And I was like, I was making dinner. I was like, well, I'm already watching TV. And I turned the show on. I turned on, and I don't know if you're a fan or not. I turned on Doctor Who from 1972. It was Tom Baker. It was the first season of Tom Baker. I turned on season 10 of Doctor Who, Tom Baker, and the first episode. And the way that BritBox has it is they've taken these old episodes and they've chopped them into 25-minute like pieces. And so it plays like one episode of Doctor Who is playing over 4 episodes. And so I was just playing that while I was cooking the dinner. And my kids came downstairs. It was called The Robot. And the kids came downstairs and they're like, can we watch a show? And I was like, I'm already watching the show. And they're like, we're not interested in this. And I was like, that's fine, but I'm watching this. And then I was like, the show with, Dad's TARDIS. And I showed them my coffee mug that's the TARDIS. And they're like, this show has the TARDIS. And the Daleks, and I showed them the coffee mug with the Daleks or whatever, and they're familiar with this stuff. And like, this has this, and they're like, there's an alien on the show. And so at 15 minutes later, we're all watching Doctor Who, and the kids are like watching this clanky like 1970s robot, and it's like so silly. But here's the thing, I was watching this and I was like, my kids are having a good time watching this obvious silly looking robot. And we used to have TV that we would have characters on screen that would take a giant silly looking toaster robot seriously as like a menacing threat. And like TV just used to be like fun and good and easy. And anyway, so my kids watched Doctor Who from the 70s, and then it was great. It was a good time. Good time at our house. Okay, I think you guys have thought about it. So we'll wait till he comes back.
No, what I was going to say is that you're exactly right. Like on the Star Trek, the early Star Trek, the Gorn, was the lizard guy.
Yeah,
the freaking, and
yeah,
that was like,
you're
like, and you watch it today, and you're like,
and it doesn't move at all.
It's so dumb looking. But in Star Trek, I don't remember which one of the newer ones. I don't know if it's Enterprise. It's one of the newer ones that I was watching. The Gorn is in that with our CG effects and stuff now. And they kind of describe and, them, and they kind of have a definition, or, they kind of have a history or a backstory on why they looked that way and why.
Yeah.
And they're scary as hell, man. With the CG and wow. Wow. Very scary.
Is it a better story though? Because we used to have like
yeah.
So like we had TV on a budget is what it was. So the storytellers had to just be creative and work with what little they had. And now there's so much reliance on CG for spectacle. I don't know. What do you guys think? Oh, let me know in the comments below. All right. Let's get ready for the wrap up.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. So
I've done the guy was asking about a thing that I did, if he could download it or buy a CD. I've done this audio documentary.
Yeah.
I've done this, and it aired Saturday on the air, and it was like this audio documentary on this Rockabilly Hall of Famer that lives in our area. His name's Stanley Walker. And he turned 85 Saturday. And I've known Stanley for like a decade because I've always just been enthralled with him when I met him, because he is the guitar player behind a lot of those freaking 50s and 60s songs and country bands and even rock and roll bands. He played for this guy named Rockin' Ray Smith. And Rockin' Ray Smith was a rockabilly singer that recorded at Sun Records in the second wave of rockabilly. The first wave that come out of Sun Records was Johnny Cash, Carl Perkins, Jerry Lee Lewis, Elvis Presley, and then Rockin' Ray Smith was in the second wave, and his songs really never hit really big. And Stanley was his guitar player, and he played with all of these. He was almost Johnny Cash's guitar player when Luther Perkins passed away, and he was on his way. He had been, and Johnny hired his brother-in-law. So it was a really nice audio documentary that I put together and whatnot. And I'm going to try to put it up I'm going to try to figure out a way to get it on upload it somewhere today, because I've had a lot of people asking me if they could, and if I do, I'll put it on our Discord server over there.
Are you going to make it free, or are you going to sell it? Guy wants a CD.
I'm not going to sell it.
Why not?
Oh, I'm not going to sell it. No, I'm going to give that away.
All right.
I'm not selling that.
Okay.
No. No. I know your brain's like, wait a minute, we could put this up on the your two dad.
You have a customer that wants to buy a CD.
Yeah, but I use music that's not that there's songs in there. Yeah, and I'm not. Yeah, this is for Stanley. It's not for me. If I sold it, I'd give all the money to Stanley. So.
Okay, you might have
He's
to look into
cool.
licensing.
Look
I don't
him
know
up.
how I don't know how licensing works because you have a direct.
I don't even care. I don't even care. I'm not selling it.
Well, you have to
Go to
distribute it,
YouTube and
okay.
no, I'll just give it away. People can get crap on YouTube. Go to YouTube and check it and type in like Stanley Walker, and you can see a couple of interviews and stuff. And he's an old man, you know, and he wasn't a singer. So you're like, oh, some of his songs are not the greatest, but he wasn't a singer. He was a guitar player,
Right?
You know, so good stuff.
You can put it on
All right,
YouTube.
you got a dad joke?
I do have a dad joke. Do you know? Maybe you know. Maybe you don't. How do inmates call each other?
With the cell phone?
Damn it! All right, that's fine.
Last night we were in the kitchen and Ashley asked me if I had seen the dog bowl.
Yeah.
And I was like, I didn't even know he did. That's amazing. What's his record?
Yeah.
Mine was like 175. That is great.
Good. All right, guys. Thanks for hanging out with us. It's Monday. We're going to be here all week long. Rumble.com/JJW. Rumble.com/JJW or YouTube.com/@your_2_dads. You can see us anytime on Discord. We're also on Facebook and Twitter. And the show plays on Twitter. You can play us on Twitter or X. Twitter, X, Twitter. All right. Outro. Joints are cracking. The show is over. As always, please subscribe,